Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about falling off the wagon on the twin flame journey. So I'm going to talk to you about what it means to fall off the wagon, what you need to do to get yourself back to where you need to be, and why it's not actually such a bad thing that you fell off the wagon. So first of all, what do I mean by that? When you fall off the wagon on the twin flame journey, it means that you have, first of all, already detoxed once. So this video isn't for you if you're still addicted or obsessed with your twin flame. Like if you're reaching out to them all the time, if you're pining for them, if your core wound is activated, so you have a pain either in your chest, your solar plexus, or in your belly area that like throbs because you are in that much pain, then you need to go through a detox initially. But if you've already been through that and you were feeling good, and maybe you're working with a coach who is helping you with that process, but then you start engaging in some fear-based energy, then you've fallen off the wagon. So fear-based energy is the thing that keeps us not only addicted to the twin flame, but it's also the thing that keeps us separate from our twin flame, because fear-based energy is of the mind. So it's thoughts and emotions. And that's not where we're the same as the twin flame. We are the same soul, which means we're the same in the fifth dimension. The fourth dimension is the astral plane. So that's thoughts and emotions for us, which for the conscious twin always go towards the unconscious twin. Always. It never goes the opposite way. It doesn't interact like it does with other souls. So that energy is the energy that has to be neutralized in order to move on. And in essence, in order to get off the journey and just be in union, you have to neutralize that energy. And that's what the detox is the first phase of. There's really only 3 parts to this journey. There's the detox, and then there's awareness, and then there's presence, aka union. And this is what I teach in my digital program on my website, which is available below. But if you've already been through that, either through my program or through somebody else's program, and you felt great, and then something happened where maybe, let's say, you started stalking your twin flame online, on social media, you started watching tarot card readings, and you got all emotional again. Maybe you saw them in person, maybe you guys met up, and then you took things too far, like maybe you hung out with them too long initially, or you took things too far physically with them. Something happened to reactivate your core wound. So some people never have the core wound activated. They don't really remember a pain. They didn't spend that much time with their twin flame. So the obsessive thoughts began because they had soul recognition, but it never got to the point that they were having a throbbing pain somewhere in their core. And that's okay, because if you have it, then that's good, because you know exactly where the source of your fear-based energy is in your own body. But if you don't, that's okay. It's not really like a requirement of being on the twin flame journey. Some people have it and it's quite obvious to them, like mine is right in my solar plexus, but some people don't know. So I've worked with people who are like, I don't really remember a specific pain anywhere. So I always just assume the heart for them because it's the highest chakra in the core. But again, it doesn't matter. Having your core wound reactivated for you is just a signal that you absolutely need to go back into detox. Like as soon as your core wound is activated, that's the message. I need to re-detox. And you can need to go back into a detox as many times as you need. There's no limit. It doesn't mean anything about you. It doesn't mean that you're spiraling backwards, because that's literally impossible. It doesn't mean that you're not doing well. It just means it's just a neon sign that says, hi, detox, okay? Now, let's say you don't have a core wound activation, you aren't getting those pains in your body, but you start having obsessive and addictive thoughts towards your twin flame again. Again, that is another major neon sign that you need to go back into detox. So how to detox is something that I teach in my digital program. And in essence, it means nothing towards the twin flame, no action, no communication, no feeling and thinking about the twin flame. So obviously you have to start at the things that you can control easily, which is that you don't reach out, right? You don't reach out, You stop talking about them to people. You stop watching videos about twin flames. Like nothing. You have to go cold turkey, hardcore. And then after you do that for a certain amount of time, you start to be able to observe the thoughts. Because if you're still reaching out to your twin flame, you're so far in addiction, you're allowing the energy to rule your life. The fear-based energy is controlling you at that point because you're completely unaware. So you don't even know how often you're thinking or having emotions about your twin flame because you can't even control your actions. So you have to start with that and then back it up to no communication about the twin flame, right? To anyone. And then back it up to, I'm going to start controlling my thoughts and emotions about the twin flame by calling them out. And this is essentially how a detox works. There's some more fine details and specifics that obviously I reserve for my programs and for my clients and things, but other teachers do teach how to detox as well. And most of my private clients actually come from other programs that are meant for introductory work, and they are in they need deeper help. So that's mostly what I do. But in essence, you have to go back to that if you've fallen off the wagon. There's no getting around this. So what happens is a lot of students who have already experienced a detox initially, and they even magnetize their twin flame back in because they did the proper work, their egos they start to slide in the back door. So a lot of the people who come to me, especially when I first started coaching, were they had already gone right back into ego, and it's insidious at that point because they're doing something called spiritual bypass. So what they're doing is they think they know better, right? Because they've absorbed the information and they did experience it maybe once or twice, but now they think they know better than everybody. They know better here, but they're not practicing it here in the body. They don't know it below the neck, right? They know it above the neck in the head, which is useless because the mind is the addictive energy. So the mind has now taken over by telling them, you know enough, you're an expert, you don't have to do the work. So but we've all been through it. I've been through it. I was that person. And this is exactly why diligence and practice is so vital for literally the rest of your life. This is the biggest thing I get pushback from people on, is that their minds tell them that I just have to do this now, but then later I'm going to live in some utopian bliss of romantic union with my twin flame. That's the end goal. That's the end game for them. And that is the addiction's fantasy. It's a fantasy that's created by the addictive fear-based energy. So really what happens is you get better and better and better at doing the work that you did in the beginning. So you just get so good at detox that you can detox like that, right? So this is what happens. If you fall off the wagon and you've reached out to your twin flame, or you guys actually had some sort of physical experience, and now you've gone back into the runner-chaser mode, which just means that you've fed your fear-based energy and you're back into the addiction, obsession, core wound pain. The only thing you have to do is go back into your detox. And if you're watching this and you've never been through a program that teaches you how to detox, either mine or another teacher's, then, that's what you need to grasp right now is detox. Now, detoxing itself initially, it probably takes a week or two to feel fine. Literally, it takes that. It's not a matter of time. It feels like in the beginning, it's going to take an eternity to detox because that's what your fear-based energy wants. It wants to keep control, right? But it's not really that it wants to keep control of you. It's not an outside entity. It's just you. It's just the mind. It's how the mind functions. The mind is within the fourth dimension, which is the time-space continuum. But when you rise up into the fifth dimension, soul alignment via presence, you're above the time-space continuum. So time becomes malleable to you. You are actually controlling time And the ironic thing is that you've given up control the way the mind understands control. So detox itself can be instantaneous. It's just that as humans, we've been conditioned to live as identified with the mind. So we are really subjects of time in our physical bodies, right? Like we live in the third dimension, the physical world, physical reality is below the time-space continuum. So everything is dependent on time and space, but that's not really how things work. You're a soul, you are an eternal soul, and having this experience is proving that to you. So it's a gift, really, but it's a gift to you. So once you've detoxed, literally, you just go into the next step. You don't even have to do anything. In fact, you're doing less. So the detox leads to the next step, which is awareness. Awareness is just literally what it sounds like. It's being aware. So you're just more aware of your thoughts and emotions. Being aware of your thoughts and emotions is what stops them. There is no other work at that point. That is the work. It's just being aware, watching your thoughts and watching your emotions. That's what dissipates them. It mitigates all of the core wound pain. So you naturally start to go into this at the end of the detox, right? And this is what pretty much evaporates the core wound pain and also the obsessive thoughts. So honestly, within a week, you can be feeling like, oh yeah, I was in a lot of pain last week. You'd be like, you probably by a week, you won't even have a cognizant like memory of the pain, right? You'll start to notice it going away, but then after a week, you'll be like, wow, I do feel a lot better. Like everything's changed. And so this is why when you fall off the wagon, it's not actually a bad thing. This is not me giving you like an excuse to go and reach out to your twin flame or to watch twin flame videos online if you have stopped doing that, which you should. If you're actually serious about your ascension and getting off of the so-called twin flame journey, that's the goal. The goal is to get off of the journey. You don't want to be on the journey forever. You want to have your life progress. Okay? You want to get past this and move on to another theme. That's, I'm hoping, what your goal is. Because if your goal is still this romanticized idea of like twin flame union and like all of this romantic bullshit, then you're still completely taken over by your fear-based energy, because romance is part of that fear-based energy. Romance is just the pleasure pain baton, right? Like what we consider romance is really just heightened hormones and emotions that occur because of chemicals in the body when you want to get down to it. I mean, that's what romance is. Romance is two people like interacting in a way that releases chemicals in their body that causes pleasure. So what is pleasure? Pleasure is one end of a baton that we call sensation, and the other end is pain. So if you pick up that baton, you have to pick up the whole baton. This is why romance doesn't last. Even in like long-term relationships, the beginning is romantic, and then you might have periods, in a soulmate relationship where you rekindle the flame and stuff. But for the most part, over the trajectory of like a 40-50 year marriage between two soulmates, it's not going to be romance 24/7. The body can't endure those type of chemicals all the time. You have burnout. I mean, I'm not trying to like burst your bubble, but I am trying to, I like to dissolve egos. Like that's my purpose, is to crush egos, which is why a lot of my students can't really handle it, but that's okay. Because I want to work with people that don't want their ego anymore. And so if you're watching my channel, I'm going to assume that you don't want your ego anymore to be in control. Obviously, you can never fully get rid of your ego. The ego is like necessary for the human experience. So, but you can have a very basic structure ego Like, look at like Eckhart Tolle. Like, he just has a base structure ego, so he has the ability to focus, because that's all that the ego is. It's just a mask we put on to dive into the water of physical experience, right? It's just something to focus. But anyway, romance is not the end game. If you want romance, get yourself a soulmate. But if you've been on this journey for any period of time, you probably don't have any interest in that anymore, because you understand, either the way I explained it to you or in your own way, that picking up the pain pleasure baton that's what it is. And then you can just drop it at any time, right? But when you drop it, you drop the pain and the pleasure, and you just be. The soul doesn't experience pain and pleasure. The soul is forever. It's just consciousness. So that's ultimately what you get to when you go through this. So when you fall off the wagon, you have the opportunity to detox and become aware and then become present. And you can do all that in a matter of hours. I mean, this is what the whole journey is about. When your physical twin flame starts to reach back out to you, and that just happens because of the collapsing of the duality within you. It's just union within creates union on the exterior, because as within, so without, right? That's literally all that physical reality is. It's just a holograph. But your twin flame is literally just a holograph of you. So they're the first thing that comes in when you collapse duality within. And you've been given a gift if you're on this journey, because you are one of the first major wave. Obviously, there are a few people throughout history that had this happen, and they've been talking about twin flames for millennia, but like, we're the first wave, right? That's why there's such bullshit in the twin flame community. It's all a bunch of crap, really, because it's a bunch of blind leading the blind. So this is what you get in the beginning. It's just the way it goes. But you are one of the first to realize that this is possible. It's possible to actually have, you could call it the perfect union, because it's just you with yourself. It's really what it is. It's just you and you. And anything that goes on between the two of you that's like a problem is a problem here. They're just being kind and reflecting it back to you, really. That's just a gift. That's a gift to have them reflect it back to you. And it's not about them. It's not about anything they're doing or saying. Like, none of that matters. It's just about, what does this show me that I need to balance here? The whole journey can be over like that. It's just about shifting into presence. But unfortunately, I had 2 twin flame teachers that I worked with after I realized that this was what it is, which I didn't for about 2 years. So I went through a slew of other coaching programs. I just did everything I could possibly think of until I finally came across my first teacher on YouTube. So she and my second teacher, who actually had the same first teacher as I did, he just doesn't advertise that, but he teaches like, just go right to presence. And I think the reason that I have so many people come to me, especially from his intro course, is because nobody is addressing how to do that in a practical manner, right? So the thing about knowing this sort of steps that you can take is that it helps you to remain in presence. And if you can't be in presence, let's say you're at a point where you're still like really bad, like you're having horrendous pain, or maybe you're not there, but you're just like stalled. That's a lot of my students. They're just stalled in this sort of like plateau place where they're not really here in presence in like this wonderful, ecstatic, constant state of being all the time anymore. But they're not like super addicted anymore. That's like most of my private clients are right there. And So the introductory courses aren't helping them anymore because those are designed for people that just are like fresh in mega pain and have just discovered this stuff and are need help now. And when you're in that phase, that state of being, you're much more easily guided towards the end game, which is presence, because you need it so bad. You're in physical pain. But what if you're floating somewhere in the middle? Like, do you want to stay there for the rest of your life? No, you don't want to stay there. So I feel like that's what my coaching fills the gap in, because I'm the one that can help people who are like somewhere in the middle. And it's fine. It's good because then you need these tools for later. When they start coming in again, you need these tools because it just keeps perpetuating. It's just like an endless, like a slinky that's just like endlessly going up, and you still need the same tools you had in the beginning. So that's why falling off the wagon is a good thing, because it gives you good practice. But this is not an excuse to go out and, like, I had a student who thought that she knew better than everyone and she had like been in my second teacher's program, and she was like one of his most difficult students, and he thought that he got through to her, and he didn't, because she came to me in a group program I offered that I don't offer anymore. And she was still just as like addicted and obsessed with her twin flame, and insisted that her way was better than other people's, even though she admitted she was still addicted and she was still paying for help. But then she would like not listen to the help. So she said that she insisted that it was like a good thing to keep reaching out to the twin flame, because then it would trigger something that would help her personal growth. And like, it's shocking how many ego-based like excuses people make on this journey. Because no, like, she was very clearly still in pain. So it was like masochism. She was trying to excuse abusing herself over and over and over again. So I'm not condoning that. Like, you don't ever have to fall off the wagon, ever. But if you do, it's an opportunity. And so that's the ultimate message I wanted to give you in this video, is if it happens to you, it's an opportunity. It's not a reason to beat yourself up or to feel bad. Just jump right back into it. Go right into detox. Go right into it. And as soon as you feel better, you'll naturally go into awareness and observation. And there's energy work I teach. You can't do it if your core wound is activated, or if you're having obsessive thoughts, you won't be able to. But there is energy work you can do, which is keeping your energy literally within your core. So that's why knowing where your core wound is helpful, because then you can focus there. But if you don't know, it's okay. You just focus it in the heart area, and you just keep the energy in you. And this leads to phenomenal changes in your whole life, like magical, crazy shit happening all around you. It's nuts. I don't even understand fully. I mean, I understand it conceptually. It's just like every time something like this happens to me, I'm still blown away, because it literally is like magic. And that's really where you want to be. Like, you want to be there, but you can't get there if you're in pain. So you just got to detox. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Love you. Bye.